Let's watch.
Is my friend Madge, and if he loses 100 pounds in the next year, I will give him $250,000. He just started working out, and I think he's already going to bed. I think it's hitting him just how hard this is going to be, which is why we got him a trainer. I'm going to go introduce him. This is your personal trainer, Coach Wall.
You're about to get me shredded, huh?
Yes, sir.
About to lose his belly?
Yep.
Can't wait to see this man.
This isn't totally relevant to the content, but something that's interesting with Mr. Beast's videos is that it's like the entire thing is like a trailer. You know, he makes sure that you always think that like it's just about to end, but it doesn't. It keeps going. So I think that part of how he does such a great job, it keeps people so engaged. It just feels like the preview's almost finished, but then the whole thing is like that. You know, it's like it's a continual trailer. Very clever. I just noticed that. But anyway.
After rest days, Madge was still just as locked in as ever.
I have a goal that I wake up every morning and I go to. Every morning I choose to win.
This is a lot like, obviously, like the Biggest Loser, which had a huge issue with people being able to keep the weight off afterwards, you know, and that's obviously something I'm extremely conscious of and talk about on this channel. Is all about the long-term weight loss. My primary interest is how do you keep it off for 10 years, 20 years? How do you make sure it doesn't come back? You know, how do you build a lifestyle that keeps it off? So when it comes to these kinds of challenges, you know, a challenge is very different from, how do I create a lifestyle that produces, a healthy weight, lean body. It's your lifestyle that maintains your weight. So living in this alternate reality, it doesn't emulate real life. You know, you can do anything in an alternate reality, but in your reality, how do you do it? So with this and with any challenge, it's an obvious issue. But and not just challenges, but like those health retreats. Those are also a problem. People go for a 30-day health retreat to some place to do yoga and meditation, and they work out every day and they do whatever. But it's not real. It's not your real normal routine. You'll take bits and pieces and go back, and maybe if but that's the thing. The thing that will be the most valuable thing you take back will be the mindsets that you take, because you can't take the lifestyle that you produced in this alternate reality. You can only take the ideas back and do your best to implement them and then begin to transform your lifestyle. So that's always interesting, these sorts of things. Good.
Madge, look at this right here. This will go in your bank account. Let's go. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 grand. I believe in you. 31.
Part of what's unrealistic about this, if you want to transfer any of this into a real life situation and how you could possibly apply it, understanding why this sort of thing doesn't work, and similar thing, challenges, like even a gym that does challenge, you do a 30-day shred or some sort of 8-week challenge or whatever. The kind of rewards that you're getting, he's got, getting $1,000 for each push-up. Daily life doesn't reward you in the same way, and if your motivation is dependent on rewards, then you're doomed, because you will not always be rewarded for it. You just won't. So, maintenance is very boring, in terms of like the dopamine hits that you get. Oh, I lost weight, I did this, I achieved that. It's not, maintenance is an achievement, but it's not obvious, and it's, it's only something you can sort of appreciate over time and just go and look back and go, wow, I've maintained this. You develop this odd relationship with it that when you're sort of weight loss and maintenance, and the whole project is so attached to these any kind of reward, whether it be praise from someone or money in this case. So that's something to be conscious of, is to not be too attach your motivation to reward.
And because I was still out of the country, my head of production had to break the news.
No, man, no. No, don't lie to me, bro. Oh my God.
It just goes to show that when you put your mind to something, anything is possible.
Dude, doing pull-ups, running miles in under 8 minutes and 30 seconds, carrying a bunch of money around, doing 40 push-ups straight. Such an incredible story.
He just used the phrase, which just shows when you put your mind to something, you can accomplish anything. I think it's pretty obvious that this guy didn't just put his mind to something. The environment, the encouragement, the rewards, the total fake environment. It's not simply a matter of putting your mind to it. You have to organize your life to it. You have to change the way you use your time, change your environment, change so much. And you'll need your mind to do that. But it's obviously not just a matter of just having, he put his mind to it.
This could be the final wave. Okay, last time. Reveal the results.
So in that video, they didn't really show him eating that much. They had little snippets of him in the kitchen eating, and they mentioned his calories a number of times, but the internet's full of videos about diet, and I think it's just uninteresting now.
Don't you think that's deceiving though?
Yeah.
He had a fridge and a kitchen there 24/7. I think a bigger challenge would be staying out of the kitchen.
Yeah, well, I mean, the issue with those challenges is the fact that they're just so unrealistic. They don't represent real life. I mean, he had all his motivation structure in that whole time was money. Each rep he did get $1,000, and the whole thing was designed so that he stays in it or he loses lots and lots of money. Huge consequence. I mean, you could try and manufacture that within your own life, but again, we become numb to those rewards and consequences. So you can't permanently maintain a sense of consequence like that. And it's a bit of a sufferable way to go about it anyway. But yeah, when he goes back out into the world to keep that up, to keep it off, it's nothing that he did there he's going to be able to just plug into his life, because it's just not the same place. It's not the same thing. So when he's going out to eat with friends, when he's at work, when he's in his regular environment, those same choices aren't going to be there. Just having a fridge with healthy food in it all the time, I imagine that's not the environment he's going back to. How do you operate in those circumstances? I mean, he wasn't taught that throughout that whole process, and he didn't have to face any of that. There's a whole different set of challenges. So I mean, it's completely unrealistic. And going back to the fact that this is essentially just like a Biggest Loser challenge. The problem that they had afterwards was that they were more than 90% of the contestants weren't able to keep it off. They put it all back on and more. It had real metabolic issues afterwards. Without that same enormous amount of effort and really, really strict life, they weren't able to keep it off. Look, this was an entertainment video more than an educational one, so they cut out all the, the eating is the boring part. It's the hard part. No one wants to see it. It's not exciting. What's exciting is seeing them do the weights and achieve the goals and get to have this amazing fun experience. If they were to show you the hard bits of it during that video, then it would just be a dip in entertainment. Watching someone struggle like that, that's not fun. And I guess that's the problem. These days it's being always presented as this glorious process that it just goes from strength to strength. I mean, he never had a loss in that whole video. He never he never had a bad experience. It was always positive. He always lost weight. He always moved towards his goal. And progress doesn't happen like that in real life when you've got the world to interact with and not absolutely perfect circumstances. Those circumstances couldn't be more perfect. The environment he was in, the rewards, they had the support. We had the support at first of the coach, but then he had another coach come in, and I'm sure he had all sorts of other support as well. But also just a stocked fridge, didn't cost him anything. Had no distractions, had one goal. Actually, when the coach died, it did make me think about how, in real life, if something like that happens, like,
Well, they did show that example of his dad dying and then him losing in months
yeah, absolutely.
all the gain he made on his own weight loss battle.
Yeah, that, and actually that's exactly right. That shows the contrast of this fake environment and the real world, where he was doing well, his weight was good, all that, and then his dad died, and then he completely derailed, and then put on heaps of weight, lost all the results that he had, and that's typically how it goes. That doesn't mean that it had to go that way, but it presents a whole set of challenges. You've got to continue you've got to continue going to your work, you've got to continue raising your kids, you've got to continue having all your relationships and managing your emotions in the real world. There's so much to pay attention to, and then you're just burdened by grief and having to process that. Your self-improvement, which, the weight loss and health project is a self-improvement project. It doesn't have the same energy to it anymore when you're grieving, and a lot of your energy goes towards that, and you're in a state of sadness, and you're processing that, and it's just, unless you're in that environment, that fake environment, where the only thing you have to do is dive into that. And he made it about honoring coach and doing all that, and so he twisted it around to be able to still stay in the game and do that. I mean, also he was going to lose all the money, and so there was all that sort of thing. Which, to be fair, that I guess that's a way to make sure that if you're in the real world, that you don't just fall into that typical pattern, is that you say, you know what, I'm going to honour my loved one by taking care of myself, enjoying my life as much as possible to honour them. But then it's not always that someone dies that you would end up in that kind of situation. It's just maybe you lost your job, you're having issues with your friends or family members, and there's just tension in your life. There's a big decision to be made. There's just a lot of work going on for you. There's things that just drain your psychic energy. They just drain your energy, and it's difficult to put all of your energy into that. But again, in that environment, it was easy for him to just put all of his energy into the one project that he had. It was either that or he just sits there crying all day. So,
could this video reinforce the myth that you can out-train a bad diet?
Well, to your point, they didn't really show the diet very much. They didn't talk about the diet at all. But I mean, they said that he had successfully kept his calories 600 less than metabolic rate or whatever it was. They said he never faltered on that, that in and of itself is unrealistic as well. Like I said, one thing I talk about a lot with my clients is that the reality is some days you eat more, some days you eat less. And if you're going to go out to eat, you've got a family event, you've got some gathering with food, it's going to be difficult to make sure that you're having just the exact right amount of calories. You didn't cook the thing, you can't weigh it and make sure it's all right. And you want to enjoy yourself when you go out and you have things. So I think that's why monitoring your calories and then just having sort of more on some days, less on others, saving calories when you can, I think is the best way to go. It allows you to be flexible with it. That, okay, today I'm going out, I'm going to enjoy myself, I'm probably going to go over, but then tomorrow I can come under, or I can sort of just shave a few 100 calories off each day and then make sure I'm still under for the week. That is a way to be like that. So I think that's the only way to live in the real world, is not to be so precise every day, because it's just, then that's what wears you out, because there's so many things that you want to say yes to that you can't, because you're so married to the program. Like you cannot be otherwise. It's restricting, and those restrictions start to wear down on it, and they start to just make you hate the fact that you're not able to enjoy the situation when you would want to. And again, obviously he had built none of those skills whatsoever in that environment, learning how to be flexible and manage himself in these situations. I mean, he wasn't presented with ice cream. You have to fight the desire for it, or what would it be like if on that night when he found out that his coach had died, that he was presented with pizza and ice cream? Would he have had it? Probably. The only thing he chose to do was not quit on that day, which is good. But again, he had so many incentives to stay. He doesn't have to work, he's going to get paid heaps. It's just completely unrealistic.
What do you say to clients who come in with this Mr. Beast style expectations of fast results?
Would tell them many of the things we've spoken about already, just how unrealistic that environment is, and something that I do say to my clients a lot is basically that you should never expect to come in and lose weight every week or results every week. Actually, something that comes to mind is when we're going through the sort of initial coaching process. So what's helped in the past, or what would help you to do well at this? They'll say that results have, it's that as long as I'm getting results, that's where I stay motivated, and it helps keep me in the game. So the funny thing is, though, that you're not always going to get results. Like, it's just the reality of the situation. Some weeks you do better, some weeks you do worse, but your weight fluctuates for reasons that are not obvious. Sometimes we couldn't possibly know. It was the amount of sleep you got, the amount of, maybe you're sick and you didn't even realize it, and your weight went up or down, the hormones. There's all sorts of things going on that we just, you can't know exactly why it went up or down. Sometimes it goes up when you think it shouldn't, and down when you think it shouldn't. So it's a fluctuating thing, and it slowly comes down. So if you're obsessed with and attached to the result that you're getting, you will not get results every week. And I guess, even in saying that, I said you want to get results. I guess it's how you're tracking the word, the concept of results is a lot of the issue. You're tracking it based on how much, whether you've lost weight or not, whether you've increased your fitness or your strength. But again, some weeks your energy's going to be lower. You're going to have other stresses in life, and you're not going to be as fit or as strong, and you're maybe going to gain some. But over the course of time, it doesn't matter that one week didn't go well. It just matters that you stayed in there and you kept going. And over the course of time, you trend down, or up, or wherever you're trying to go.
I want you to take your trainer hat off and put your therapist hat on.
Okay.
So if you look at the video, every comment is on Coach Wall. If you look at the description, the comment is all about Coach Wall. Coach Wall's death had a massive impact on the engagement of this video.
Yeah.
And some could see it as unethical that Mr. Beast had this major event at the beginning, at the beginning half of the video, and then less than 3 minutes later had a Shopify ad and people laughing and cheering. There is a massive ethical question around whether, as an entertainer on that scale, bigger than many national broadcasters have in this day and age, whether he had a responsibility to manage the inclusion of the death, and to be honest, whether he increased the role that played in the story to increase engagement with viewers and watch time with viewers, which would increase his YouTube reach and ultimately success of the video.
Yeah.
So as a hypnotherapist and someone who understands the power of telling stories, having audiences, cry and be in complete shock, and then have the mood change minutes later to cheer and laughing, and in this case 3 minutes later to a Shopify ad. Is it ethical? This is the question.
Oh, it's a complicated question and a complicated answer, I guess, in that is, to say is it ethical, I would say it depends on someone's ethics, and I guess slowing it down on the one hand is giving it respect, paying respect to him, is to not just brush over it like it meant nothing. So that's, from that perspective, or that perspective, or that in that respect, it was good. It was ethical. It was good that they bothered. They slowed it down, gave it attention, gave him. And then they did do a bit there where they said, we're not going to air this conversation because, it's meaningful and special, I guess. That at the end of the day, when you're getting that many views and you're that big of a channel, and like the engagement is everything. Like they will sell their souls for engagement. So it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, there was that Logan Paul one where he was in like a
in Japan,
yeah. So there's no doubt that he used that as a as a tool of engagement. It just like when they're editing and the question that they have in mind, what is going to make the most engaging video, then like that's on the table there. There's a story of life and death. There's a story of loving memory of heartbreak and heartache, and it's going to get people attached to him, attached to the story, emotionally touched, engaged, and hypnotized in a sense by what is going on. Like your conscious mind shuts down as you have this empathy, and and it allows I mean, look, depending on how much understanding they have and research they do, which is probably when they have that much money on the line, they got all sorts of understanding about that. It definitely would have been, and it is also the best time to put an advertisement in there too, when people's guard is down. And so, I mean, I can't imagine it wasn't intentional because it's just so perfectly placed. But again, if the question is what's going to make the most money, the first question is what's going to get the most engagement, what's going to be the most engaging, touching, shareable video, the death piece is going to be the biggest piece for sure. So that's going to be front and center. And then what's going to get the most money for the sponsor, that's going to be there too. Like if they didn't use it, they would be massively missing an opportunity for engagement and for advertiser kickback. So in some sense, they'd be foolish not to do it.
Is there an ethical line between attribute and emotional exploitation?
Well, yeah, again, it depends on your ethics. I mean, some people. I mean, he did die, and he was involved. Like they didn't plan it. Like if they intentionally killed him just for the purpose of making a good video, then absolutely that's where the ethics fall apart. But I think at the end of the day, he died. They had footage of him. He did mean something to that guy who was the contestant. So why not put it in? I guess And then also, why not use it for engagement? Why not use it for why not put it right after that point for the advertisement? Like, well, it's there. Like if they did feel weird about that, then they should have just started again, just quit it, just said sorry. He died, and this is insulting to continue this at all.
Didn't WWE have the same issue where someone actor died in the middle of the show and they continued the show?
Yeah.
So it's not a new thing.
It's what happens in it. But also, I mean, you got to wonder too. Is in we don't know what that guy's Wall's personality was like. Maybe that's exactly what he would have wanted to do. Mate, go for it. Look, I died. That was obviously unfortunate, but you know what? It shouldn't stop anyone from making money, from enjoying, getting the most out of this video.
No,
I was involved in this video. I would like it to be seen. I would like my death to be a point of engagement, I guess. Like, I mean, what's better than not, isn't it? He gets remembered somehow. Again, in Mr. Beast video, that's that's where hundreds of millions of people will see. That's I guess. Maybe it is honouring him. Like, it depends on how you see it. So so it's hard to. I don't think it's objectively good or bad. Yeah, like I said, I mean, if you were to know Coach Wallen, he would have said, yeah, absolutely, that's exactly what I would have wanted. How can anyone have an opinion otherwise? But we don't know him, so maybe he would have wanted more mention.
That was probably a PG rated video that turned into an M rated video. You know what I mean?
YouTube's a brave new world.